What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to record a video. I'm going to go over the 3.15 expansion teaser and what exactly goes into like an actual good skill for the game. And I want to talk a bit about the announcement that I had today, which was joining Method and why I actually joined them. But this character I've swapped over to a Penance Brand Aura Stacker just to try out how it is with bare bones gear and using March of the Legion. How much mana reservation do you actually need? And it turns out is that you actually need very little mana reservation. And I would probably prefer playing a build with Penance Brand early on, just because a lot of people want to play the skill at the start all the way to the end game. It's just like some weird phenomenon that people have. You ask a lot of people to level with one build and then swap over to the other end game build, and it's like pulling teeth. Everyone just wants to start with the skill and end with the skill. So they want to master the skill, right? No one wants to start with Armageddon Brand and then end with an Aura Stacker, right? Even though it might be more efficient. No one really wants to try out to do Hollow Palm and then finish with an Aura Stacker. So my goal is to provide a seamless experience to transition to Aura Stacker, and I believe this pair of boots unlocks a lot of the potential. Now in the previous videos I did do Exsanguinate, and I do think Exsanguinate is really, really good and hard to beat. Even though its single target is not good, I personally believe the clear feels so nice with the chain that it makes up for the single target issues, and the character is just tankier than the Penance Brand. When your character has max block, it just feels a lot better. So I was able to do almost all the content. I kind of messed up on the fear because I rolled it with Monster Life, but I'll probably try it again in next stream. But I just wanted to go over real fast the gear I'm wearing on this character and pretty much how efficient the March of the Legion boots makes it so that you can actually play the Aura Stacker with very little mana reservation. So let me get into the gear overview. This character has pretty much been a traditional Aura Stacker in a sense, so let me go over the gear real fast. And let's see how many auras I'm actually running. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So give or take 14 auras. You could probably do 15, I think, if you wanted to bump it up. And you can see if you have clarity and the mana regen, you actually are able to turn on the aura super fast. So you have 4 aura, and it takes like 1 second to turn them all on. And especially if you're playing a brand skill, there is downtime, like when the brands are chaining, that you have the time to actually turn on the auras real fast. The brand playstyle is actually perfect for aura stacking. Now you might be wondering, like, Penance Brand does not scale well with duration because it takes longer for the explosions to come out. You actually don't need any duration on the tree, and your auras will become probably like 30 seconds long with just first among equals. Like right now I don't really have that. I'm using Purposeful Harbinger and Replenishing. So ideally you probably do Purposeful and First Among, and you would have multiple of these. And I think the aura should last around like 30 seconds or so. But this is a very scuffed setup. But I did try it out. It was able to do like Uber Elder and everything. So this is just a proof of concept, right? So with the gear that I'm using, and this is gear that's going to be really obtainable. And it demonstrates that you don't really need that much mana reservation. So I'm using this helm for my Exsanguinate guy. So you're missing 8% mana reservation right here. This is the same necklace as Exsanguinate, so you don't even have 5% mana reservation. And then you have 2 Call of the Brotherhoods. So this is pretty standard stuff. These are pretty cheap at League Start, probably 50 Chaos to an Exalt. 6 Link Sacca Walls. Now this is something I wanted to touch on, is that you could use a Shavs, because you do have the mana reservation to spare on your Amulet and Helm. But if you really wanted to make mana reservation not an issue at all, you could try to run Sacca Walls and do this Petrified Blood stuff and just have a lot of Chaos res, and it should actually probably be fine in most cases. So that's something to consider, although it might get a little sketchy. But I think if you have a 1000 life of Petrified Blood and like max Chaos res, it would be fine. At least from what I've tested so far. So that's just one thing. Or you could just use this Shavs and use the Alpha's Howl. So this is pretty much like the budget Penance Brand setup I was talking about. And now you have Malagaros. I'm not even using an ES belt. I'm just using some random belt that I really shouldn't be using. And this is Nebulous. This Nebulous is actually not bad for damage, but it's nothing special. It's not even divined well. And this is the Prism Guardian. I'm still not running Grace. So I just wanted to touch base on that. I'm using March of the Legion boots, right? So that's the whole like setup pretty much. So you can see I'm still able to run 14 auras with pretty much no mana reservation on my actual gear. I think I do have some mana reservation on my jewels right here. So I have 3% right here. So in the end, you probably just run Alpha's Howl, or you run like a 5% helm on a 5% aura on a hubris. You can craft a 5% really easily, but just by using one of these essences until you get a Redeemer hubris. So you can get, what's it called? I think it's one of the essences that gives mana reservation. But overall, the gear is very, very cheap, right? So it is actually very effective, and you could play around with the auras a lot. So you actually don't need to have the purities on the boots. You could put the 50% auras on the boots and then the other auras elsewhere. So there's definitely a more optimal setup than what I'm doing. I put this together in like an hour or two just to play with it. And the clear is more than fine. Bossing is okay. And turning on the auras is honestly not that bad. Once you have all of the first among equals, it takes 1 second to turn on 4 auras, or 1.5 seconds, and then you'll have it up for like 30 seconds. But that's when you have all of the first among equals. And as long as you have one of the brand clusters of Holy Conquest and Brand Loyalty, you'll be set. You don't really need Brand Loyalty times Remarkable times 3. So this puts the Penance Brand budget at even lower. And you don't really need to have 90% res in the beginning of a League Star. So I have 88% once you have a level 21 gem. The beauty about this is you can put the purities in here and it's a +2, so that you could have all of that. But that would make so that you have to make sure you have the purities on always, or you'll have negative resist. So I think ideally you want to move the damage auras to the boots with 50%, and you move the purities or whatever into the Prism Guardian or other 50% auras if possible. You probably run Arrogance with the purities to try to get 90%. So ideally you could probably do this way. Actually no, because you need a +2 somewhere, so you probably have to put the purities in the Alpha's Howl. So overall, build is pretty good. I think has a lot of potential. Now people will be asking, how do you actually level the build up? And that's what I'm going to try to find out in the next coming days, because ideally you could probably do Stormbrand and use March of the Legion, and I think any type of aura stacking with conversion skill is just going to be insane, whether it be Penance Brand or Stormbrand. So I'm going to test it out with Malagaro's gloves and trying to level up a character with Ascendant. But in the end, the Exsanguinate character is also very, very strong. So it does come down to the playstyle difference. Like you've seen Exsanguinate. I actually love the clear on Exsanguinate. The single target is a little bit of an issue, and it would cost a little bit more time to switch over to Penance Brand. But for people who really like to play Penance Brand, you could probably play it very, very, really early on with the boots. And it's kind of cool that the boots, no one ever really thought about the boots that much. I always thought it would be a huge hassle to turn on 4 auras, but taking away 4 50% auras makes a huge difference. And I don't even have the aura enchant on the helm, so I could definitely be running Grace too. So you'd probably be relatively tanky, but it's just a proof of concept. It will work at an even lower budget than the budget Penance Brand video, and you could probably pull it off even earlier on if you use Sack of Walls. Just for mana reservation, you would never need to even worry about RMR until later on. So next video I will include the leveling, and I'll try to do a test run on stream. So here you may see my picture right here. So I joined a method as a PoE streamer, or pretty much an ARPG streamer, because I think they want me to also stream like Last Epoch and D3 and D2 or D4 when it comes out. The main reason I joined the organization is because it's actually one of the few organizations, or only organization I think, that's actually trying to do anything in PoE. And PoE is a game that is really community driven, so having an esports organization trying to come out with events helps bridge the gap between leagues. Like right now there's a huge lull. Like these 3 weeks I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm pretty much just playing the game, coming up with random builds, or trying to do league starters. Like imagine myself doing a league starter when I don't even know the balance changes for the league. Like that's just crazy. Like all I know is that Exsanguinate could have its damage reduced by 50%. They could remove Prism Guardian for the game and make it linked to the Arrogance gem instead of the Blood Magic Keystone. So there's just so many things that is not really like even viable. Like what I'm doing right now is all hypothetical. So I hope that with more events, that more people will be interested in PoE. But in the end, it does come down to what PoE wants as a direction for a game, and that's why having other games like D5, D4, D6, and Last Epoch and Last Epoch 2 come out is a huge thing, because there's really no like innovation and creativity to push without other competition. Without competition, like if you look at battle royales and Fortnite was able to add respawn into the game because of Apex Legends, and a lot of BRs also have the ability to like upgrade weapons from a shop that you can find in the map, and stuff like that is all because of competition. So I would love to see PoE add some, what's it called, like vacuum loot, smart loot. I would like to see better crafting in terms of iterative crafting where your item can slowly improve rather than just being completely bricked. But overall, I believe that Method actually does have the best interests of PoE in that they want to help it grow. And the events, I think, are a pretty cool thing. I know that Zizaran used to be part of it, and I think that's where they got a lot of the motivation to do like the gauntlet race. And I think the gauntlet race and all the competitive aspects of PoE makes it a lot more fun, and it adds a different dimension to the game. And that's why I joined Method, and the people in the Method for the PoE team are awesome. I know like Q Dog and Al Kaiser is in it, and Empyrean, and a bunch of other people, right? So maybe can work with them on something. But now I'm going to talk about the 3.15 video. The 3.15 video was actually kind of troll, but I'll let you know why. One of the first ways to judge like hype and community reaction for something is the number of upvotes and downvotes. Generally, when you see like the upvote and downvote ratio skew towards this way, this probably means there's a lot of negative sentiment towards either GGG or the game. Now, I don't really know why people hate it so much. Maybe a teaser is just too short, like 17 seconds. Like, come on. You need to give us a little bit more. Like 17 seconds is insanely short, but we can't be beggars, can't be choosers, right? That's the saying. So if you look through this, what's it called? This teaser, you see there's a lot of new skills that come out. A lightning cross skill, some blazing salvo chaos skill, a blaze storm looking skill, and they look pretty cool, right? And this is like some chaos discharge thing. And then you see 4 people. You never want to see 4 people anymore. Whenever I see 4 people, I think of Heist, and these people look like some people that remind me from Heist. So I don't know if they're gonna leave. So this looks like he's trying to run through a labyrinth to try to get something, right? So he's going places, and now maybe the path diverges to different paths of loot. And hopefully you don't have these 4 people to equip with items and they have to open doors and traps, because anything but Heist. But if I was an optimistic person, like I am, I would guess that these are the 4 new endgame bosses or conquerors for the Atlas, and that the whole endgame system will be overhauled, and 4 endgame conquerors, and who knows what else, right? Or 4 new ascendancies, or 4 new classes. But who am I kidding? It's probably not. These are probably some PoE 2 NPCs that they added just to make it look cool, but have nothing to do with the league. I also saw a pretty good guess for the league name by Badger, and it was Path of Exile Brotherhood League, because these are all, I don't know, Brotherhood also sounds like Heist. Just anything but Heist, because Heist was horribly executed at the start and just brings me back PTSD. But here's the dates: July 15th announcement, and then 1 week later, or 8 days later, play for free on 1 p.m. July 23rd Pacific time. So hopefully the what's it called, expansion is good. But these skills, a lot of people are kind of hyped about the skills or not hyped about it. And there's only one thing to describe these skills, is that they are suboptimal for super late game and end game builds. So if you want to have maximum clear speed, you will not play one of these builds, because these skills require you to target, or it requires you to be next to the enemy, and that's just never really that great of a thing. So throughout time, all of the best skills in the game have been non-targeting and non-having to like cast it. So Winter Orb, you don't need to target it. You just channel the amount of stacks, and then you just run through the map. Blade Vortex is the same thing, no targeting, no need to really cast it. Storm Brand, the same thing, you just put it at the ground, attachment range will attach to something, you run through the map. And Spam Brand Recall. And when you have skills where you need to hold it down, target it, cast it, is when you have skills like Crackling Lance, where you hold it in place, shoot your laser beam at the enemy, trying to play like a first-person shooter to aim at the mob who's like running around in places. Or you have like skills that require you to be like right next to the mob. And that's just something that's never going to be a good endgame skill. But like I said, these skills hopefully will have some interesting mechanic to it that makes it really good for clear. But from what I see here in the short amounts of the clips, it doesn't look too promising. My favorite skill is obviously always going to be the lightning skill, because a lightning skill means that it could be viable for Aura Stacker. So this skill right here, you put it on the ground and yeah, it explodes. It's like a storm call. But who am I kidding? Why would you play this over Spark or Penance Brand? You would be a crazy person, right? But yeah, that's what I think about the 3.15 expansion teaser. Hopefully it's a banger of a league. And thanks for watching, everyone. And be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. In the coming streams, I will be trying to level up a new Scion again for the Penance Brand, just to see if it's possible to play a brand skill that's not Armageddon Brand at league start. So I hope you tune in, and I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do. And see you next time.